Hey, big head.
Okay, so around 2010, you started being heavily involved in the youth poetry community. Obviously, it dates back a little further, but this is where we start leading up to B&V. And eventually, you made a team that was going to represent Orlando and Tampa Bay. I believe you all was called Team Rocket at the time. I mean,
Team
you told me
Rocket.
this like years ago, but I think that's what you guys are called.
Yeah.
So, the team was Team Rocket, and you were going to compete in the big poetry competition, Brave New Voices. What was your experience like trying to make the team? And after hearing the poets in that competition to make the team, did you feel like you were good enough to make the cut? Or did you feel like, wow, I probably got to do a little bit more work?
Wow. Okay. So now we're getting into it. So I just want to start by saying that, man, poetry is such a huge part of my life. And I would not be who I am and where I am without that. So Blue Bailey, I give everything to my poetry mentor, Blue Bailey. The first time I saw spoken word poetry was on TV. I think it was like BETJ. It came on, it was like BET Jazz. It was like, wait, it was back in the day. It was back in the day.
Don't say back in the day like you're older than me or something.
I mean, but look, it was, it was not recent. How about that? Let's say the programming is not on there anymore. And I just did not think, I felt like I could do it, but I didn't know there were opportunities for youth to do that. Mm-hmm. So I met my poetry mentor at a competition that I was competing for. It was not like a spoken word competition. It was for like a talent competition. She was judging. And she encouraged me, if I can get the story right, to slam. She was going to different schools in the district and doing these poetry workshops and hosting these poetry slams. And I'm like, oh, what is a poetry slam? But this is what I want to do. And I was also seeing it on TV. So I saw Brave New Voices when I want to say either 8th or 9th grade. And I'm like, oh, kids my age are doing this, right? Like I want to do that. And to be connected to my poetry mentor who was doing that.
And this is back when Be Young and Alyssa Harris.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Joshua Bennett and all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The big people. Yeah.
The big people.
Yeah.
So I was just so inspired by that. But yeah, when I decided to go out for these poetry slam teams and compete in the concept of competition and competing against other poets, so other spoken word poets, that wasn't on the page, right? That was orally doing it. I was scared. I didn't know what I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing. And I just, I just want to say shout out to Duresny and Grace, Grace Katia. Like they were the first poets in my city that I knew did what I did and were like good and were great. And there are so many more that I am forgetting. So please forgive me if anyone else is watching this and I'll say your name. Like I remember all of y'all, but I was nervous and I did not think that I was that good or could compare. And I did. I won my first poetry slam. And I forget if I'm 9th and 10th grade. And I started going to blues poetry workshop. It was on and popping since then. But I told Blue, hey, we want to go to this big competition. There were other poets in Florida. So we were competing amongst other youth poets in the state, but we wanted to go to Brave Voices. We wanted our own team.
I got you.
And, Blue heard us and she got us there. And when I say it was a dream, I was so intimidated. I had never been outside of Orlando, really. Or at least in those environments. And I'm seeing youth that spit like me, who have the same style like me, or who talk differently than me, but have like similar stories and want to express it through this medium, So even though I felt we were, we might come from different socioeconomic statuses and different states and different, whatever the case, but it was poetry that connected us. And it truly, truly changed my life. And yeah, Team Rocket, that was the second year that we went. First year, we made it to semis. Our second year, we made it to semis again, and it was Orlando, Tampa. So shout out to the teammates, and I'm going to name everybody: Curtis, Brian, Nia, Eric, myself, Malika, Shantae, Chris. Yeah, we did that, and shout out to Blue Bailey and Wally B. Jennings.